Okay, so welcome to my first YouTube video, and today we're going to be slip casting a Sunny Angel and an obsidian fish. So in this step, I'm just measuring out some of the dimensions and cutting some foam core to make the mold boxes to pour the plaster into. I think I have an inch or an inch and a quarter on the outside of both figures. In this step, I'm just cutting out some walls and the bases for the mold boxes so no plaster leaks through. Here you can see the mold boxes. It's basically just like a platform on which the raised surface goes so you can actually attach the walls. Huge shout out to Vantiki on YouTube. I'm going to put his channel in the description. Definitely go check him out, but I used his tutorial for this entire thing. Here I'm pressing oil clay into the mold box about halfway up the Sunny Angel, so that way you get only half of the plaster cast. It's going to be a 2-piece cast. And then I brushed some Murphy's oil so the plaster doesn't stick, and I put the mold walls up. Then I went and repeated all the same steps for the obsidian fish. Okay, so at this point I had no idea what I was doing with the plaster, so I went down to my basement and asked some of the guys who work in my building to help me out. So the guy in the blue shirt is named Luis, and he helped me with all the plaster. Now you can find specific measurements for plaster to water ratios online, but we kind of just eyeballed it here until you got like a thick slurry of plaster. At this point I got pretty paranoid, so I searched if you could even use plaster of Paris because I think there's also pottery plaster, but it turns out it's all okay in the end, so we're all good. I was pretty worried about the plaster and that the Sunny Angel wouldn't pop out, but you can see it came out really easily, and with the help of a tool, we just removed it, so it all turned out fine. This part was really satisfying because it felt like those callus removal videos. Then I repeated all the same mold box steps for the second half of the plaster cast, and you can see Luis drilling some keyholes into the cast so it releases more easily. Also, for release purposes, I just brushed some Vaseline on the keyholes. Then we did the second round of plaster, and it turned out really well, and I got to do the callus shaving again. Boom, so there's my first plaster mold. I think it looks really good. At this point, it's day 3 of the project, and I'm getting pretty tired, but I'm pushing through, and we're back to the satisfying part, so that's good. Yay, so there are both of my plaster molds. I'm feeling pretty proud because they look really good, and now it's time to test if they actually work. I bought pre-made slip to pour into the plaster molds because I couldn't really make it at home. Yum, and there's my first fish. I think it turned out really well. I think I did something right because it came out of the mold super easily. Now we're moving on to the silicone mold so I can make more plaster molds of my original mold so I can make more fish and more Sunny Angels. This is my third round of mold boxes now. Now I'm mixing the Rebound 40 silicone, and make sure you wear gloves for this. I forgot at first, so I had to take a break and get some. I was getting pissed at this point because I actually didn't buy enough silicone, so it wasn't coating the mold evenly, so I stuffed a bunch of paper towels down to try and even it out. My solution actually worked out, which I was surprised about, but it turned out pretty well. The only thing is the bottom of the mold is super thin, so I was afraid I was going to break it. I decided to try the plaster myself this time, so I already had a respirator from mixing glazes, but I also have my windows open and my fan on just to be extra safe with the plaster. The plaster mold worked out pretty well, so I ended up with 3 copies of the Sunny Angel mold before I ran out of plaster. The fish kept turning out really well, but once I went to try the molds of the mold of the Sunny Angels, the slip started leaking through, and I think it's because of how I made the silicone mold and how it was uneven. Because of that, I ended up with some fragments of angels, but I also have 2 molds that actually worked, so I ended up with quite a few good ones. And I bisqued the angels to cone 04, and now it's time to glaze them. I meant to turn the glaze to face the camera, but it's the Cosmos series of Amoco. It's called Solar Flare, and it has these really nice iridescent yellow crystals. I didn't even realize I was concentrating so hard I stuck out my tongue here, but I think I was just really nervous that I was going to break something at this point. Everything turned out fine though, and I ended up putting the Sunny Angels on top of stilts so nothing stuck to the kiln. The opening of the Solar Flare glaze wasn't big enough, so I ended up just brushing it onto the fish. And there they go into the kiln. The glaze turned out really well, but unfortunately it dripped onto the kiln shelf and got really stuck, so I had to take out a chisel and a hammer and try and tap it off. You can also see some of the glaze ran onto the stilts, so I had to take pliers and get rid of the stilts too. I got super lucky and everything was easy to take off just by wiggling the chisel. I didn't mind the stilts too much because they looked like a backpack, but I took them off anyway. After all that, here's the final product. I ended up hanging some of the angels on my pieces with some fishing line. So I think that's going to be the end of the video. Sorry I'm back off voiceover here, but it would mean a lot if you could go check out my art website. I'm going to link it in the description. I know I've linked like 8 other things there already, but definitely go check that out. It's oscargluckart.cargo.site. This project took probably like a total of $200, happened over 3 months. I know it's condensed down to 6 minutes, but it took a long time. A lot of cleanup, my room got really messy. So yeah, it would mean a lot if you could just if you could follow, go check out the art website. And lastly, I'd love to give a big thank you to Mr. Staley and Miss Booter at the LaGuardia Ceramic Studio for helping me out, even though I destroyed their kilns, kind of. Sorry about the kiln shelf. And another thank you to Vantiki on YouTube, because obviously I wouldn't have learned how to do any of the mold making stuff without him. So thanks for watching.